With UFC 280 just around the corner, we're going to go over our last-minute bets and predictions for the card. So let's start with the main event. We have Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira for the vacant lightweight belt. Mark, what is your bet for this fight?
Well, coming off my official prediction, I think Islam Makhachev is going to knock Charles out. That comes in at plus 500, and I think it's a real possibility. I think Charles, he gets caught, and he gets caught early sometimes, and I think Islam is really going to capitalize on that, and we might see a finish in there. What about you?
Yeah, I think you're right there, because with Islam and Charles, when Charles gets dropped, he sort of waits in his guard, and he knows that they're not going to follow up on it. Whereas Islam will. He'll jump down and maybe start doing that ground and pound. But I'm actually going the complete opposite of you. I'm going Charles Oliveira by knockout, which is plus 500. Just because I feel like Islam gets caught too much with the level changes. And I feel like there's a really good chance he can get caught in that. And that idea that two grapplers usually counter each other out and it ends up being a stand-up match. And I think Oliveira's kickboxing is probably just going to be too much for Islam Makhachev. So let's move on to TJ Dillashaw versus Aljamain Sterling. What's your bet for that fight, Mark?
My official bet is Aljamain Sterling by submission. I'm getting tired of listening to people discredit Aljamain as if he's just some paper champion. And with the amount of time that TJ has been out, excluding one fight with Corey Sandhagen, I think he's going to get caught. I think Aljamain's going to take him into the deep waters and get maybe even a late submission.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. I think that's at a plus 400, so that's quite good. I think that it could be right, but I just feel like TJ is just too good on the ground, and I'm not sure if Aljo is really going to be able to do that, but it's certainly possible. I'm going to go the opposite to you. I'm going to go TJ Dillashaw by decision win. That's at plus 275. So I think TJ is just going to sort of grind his way to a win. I think he's just too well-rounded for Aljo. I think he's great on the feet. He's great on the ground. I don't think he's going to get finished. I just feel like he's just too much for Aljamain Sterling, and I don't think he's going to be able to handle that pressure. So let's move on to Sean O'Malley versus Petr Yan. What is your bet for this fight, Mark?
Well, maybe it's an unpopular one, but like my predictions, I actually think Sean O'Malley is going to get a knockout victory. And I know that's bold, but that comes in at plus 400 against Petr Yan. I just think he's going to catch him. I think with these spinning kick, I think something's going to happen. He's long, his reach, his height. I think everything's going to play a factor and it's going to come together beautifully. I'm not going to say it early, but maybe a second or third round knockout. What about you?
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you there, though I don't think it's going to be knockout. I think it's going to be by decision. I think Sean is going to play it super careful, and he's going to just try and get points. He's not going to headhunt. He's just going to go after points. He's going to play the patient game, keep at a distance as much as possible, and keep Petr Yan from getting close to him. So I'm going to go decision, which is actually surprisingly at plus 500. So it's more likely than a knockout, which I did not expect. Have you got any sort of fun Have you got any sort of fun wildcard bets for this fight, Mark?
Yeah, just the one, but I mean, it's not that exciting, really. It's just the Islam and Charles fight. I've got Islam Makhachev, a first round knockout. I think we might, well, it's not really a think. This is just literally a wild card bet, and it's definitely a possibility. That comes in at plus 1,600 for a first round knockout of Charles Oliveira by Islam Makhachev. What about yourself? Have you got any on?
Yeah, so what it kind of it kind of goes against my initial first bet, but I'm going Islam Makhachev to get a takedown in every round and then win by decision. And that comes in at plus 2,000. So I feel like if Islam is going to win, I feel like he's just going to take Charles down, rag him around for 5 rounds, but I don't think he's going to be able to get a submission or ground and pound. And I think it's actually in some ways quite possible for that to happen. But yeah, that's our bets and predictions. I do think that's all we've got time for. If you can like, comment, subscribe, it really does help us out.